So it is Monday night. Not waiting for steak to rest, not waiting for pork, not waiting for sushi, not waiting for lamb, not waiting for meatballs. I am just cooking turkey burgers. So, pretty boring on a Monday, but I'm going to open up a bottle of Working Dog Merlot, so New Jersey winery. I'm also going to have a glass of the Nebbiolo from Turdo, from the Taurus. The Nebbiolo, what was the vintage on this one? 2014. I'd already tried it. I was just craving a glass of it, so I'm going to have a glass of it from the Corbin. So 2019 Merlot from Working Dog. Merlot being the grape that has been maligned from the movie Sideways, which is now even dated to this point. But I did hear a good perspective on that. That most of the Merlot being made back in California at that time was being mass produced because Merlot was like the house wine, and maybe it was good that it was called out, and then now the Merlot that is being made is probably very high quality, and of course the Merlot made in Bordeaux is terrific and is a perfect blending partner to those Bordeaux wines. Although on the right bank there's plenty of Merlot heavy Bordeaux. Petrus is pretty much 100% Merlot and about $3,000 or $4,000 a bottle. So, being probably one of the best Merlots in the world, I've never had it. I did just want to talk about some wines that are on my wish list. Wines that I want to buy or try. Some things I've been learning and just always exploring the world of wine and trying to try new things, at the same time also try a new cab from a different producer that's doing a little bit different or doing it a little bit better or a little bit more natural. I don't want to say natural wine, but more maybe biodynamic, organic, just a little more about what the vineyard is showing rather than manipulating a wine to taste overly bold or overly big, overly oaky, overly unctuous. So anyway, let's taste this Merlot first and just talk about some wines and things on my wish list. This is my written down wish list I keep on my phone. I always have a mental wish list. Something I need to do is I've run out of all my midweek wines. I need to go buy more. I just don't have any in that $20 range, $20 to $30 range. I don't have any midweek wines. I always felt that Working Dogs makes a pretty good Merlot. This actually has a scorched earth aroma to it, which I don't think I've ever. It's got a Bordeaux-esque nose. Wow, that is very interesting. This reminds me of a certain, gosh, I forget the name of it. A certain Bordeaux I used to buy in the $20 to $30 range. I think they also make Chateaubriand. Oh, gosh, I forgot. But I used to love it, and I just haven't seen it in forever. It's got some spice. It's just more spice. A lot of spices, baking spices. Some white pepper, some black pepper, some stewed raspberry. On the palate, it tastes a lot. It doesn't taste like Bordeaux. It just sort of, I wouldn't know what it is. It lacks a little of that ripe plumminess. It's got like an underripe plumminess. Merlot typically has a plum. Plum is one of the main characteristics of Merlot. This one is sort of a unripe plum in here. I believe you'll get more ripe plum out of California Merlot made well and out of Bordeaux. The tannin structure here too is different. It's not those very grippy tannins. The tannins are a little bit more medium plus here. Sour fruit component a little bit. This isn't overly ripe, but it's tough to get this Merlot. You're not going to get a lot of these unctuous red Merlots and cabs out of New Jersey. They just don't get that weather that California does. But there's great acidity, there's great texture, and this is just a good solid wine from Working Dog. So I really enjoy it. I think their Retriever is their Cab Franc, their estate Cab Franc from their oldest plots. Hands down the best Cab Franc, one of the best red wines in New Jersey, no doubt. got drying tannins. They're not silky. This one could age a little bit. I say 5 years. I wouldn't go beyond maybe 5, but it could. It could. I don't know. The acid's absolutely there, so it could go line. It'd be interesting to see. I have a 2016, so that's 6 years. So yeah, and it does have a good amount of acidity. A lot of the tannin is gone, and it comes across a little bit lighter. So let me pause to get some water. All right, so yeah, scorched earth on the nose, and you're getting a little tobacco on the nose, so it has very much a Bordeaux aroma, but then the taste is very different. Today, this is coming across like a 3 out of 5. I think I'd normally give it a 3.5, but today it's just coming across to me as a 3. It's just not hitting all the right spots. I think it needs to develop a little bit more. So, before I have some of the Turdo, and maybe the Merlot just needs to open up more too. I mean, it is pop and pour here, so probably needs to open up a little bit. I think it's really a great. This would pair very well with the food, especially with the acidity there. Totally different aroma, but Nebbiolo grape, totally different. Got a little tomato leaf on the nose today. A little dried rose petal. So some sparkling from the. I want to get a Trento sparkling wine from Italy, Alto Longa sparkling. 2 sparkling wines I've never had from those regions. From Burgundy, I love Volnay, the village of Volnay. I believe there's just a really. I love the ones that all the Volnay Burgundies I've had. My favorite Burgundy I've ever had is from Volnay, Dongerville. I want to try Pommard. Pommard supposedly has a bigger bodied type of Burgundy, and then Gevrey Chambertin. And Volnay is supposed to be more elegant, and I believe Volnay kind of falls somewhere between. But I've had a Gevrey Chambertin in 2005, and it was amazing. It was a little bit more of a fuller bodied Pinot. I think it was an 05. I'm sure I've had a Pommard, I just can't remember one offhand. I'd like to try a decent one. Something else, at least to continue with Pinot Noirs, from the Finger Lakes, from Heart and Hands, the Mokushla. I love that Pinot. It is super light, but it's super elegant. I'm like, I crave it. The acidity on it was like perfect. Very light tannin. It just had a lot of aroma, great flavor. It was awesome, and I just want more. I decanted it the second I tried it at the winery. It was awesome. Decanted it when I brought the bottle home, and it was fantastic. And I like crave that wine. It's kind of crazy, but I do. I love it. $50 wine out of the Finger Lakes, Pinot Noir Mokushla from Heart and Hands. I love it. I'd like to try Paso Robles, an AVA in Napa. I have definitely bought cabs from there. I just don't remember any right now offhand, and I'd like to try some to see if I can find a nice bargain cab at a Paso Robles. It's a little warmer there, so maybe you get some good ripeness. I'm just not sure. I'd like to find a good bargain weekday cab from Paso and see what we get. I think you might get good value for your money. 3 other cabs I want to try. Cathy Corson Vineyards, Cabernet, definitely not cheap, over $100, but restrained, cab made the way it should be made, handled the right way. Tony cabs, another one, same idea. And then Di Costanzo, they have a one called Dico, and then they have an estate, or I think they have multiple estate or single vineyard, Farella and some other vineyards. But the Dico is their $65 entry wine, $65 for an entry wine, but it's a Napa cab in Napa, with the most expensive land, in all of America, United States for a vineyard land. So of course it's gonna have to be a little bit pricier. So Dico, that's the one I'm on the lookout for from Di Costanzo. So just some of these cabs that producers, Corson, just great producer, and Togni, T-O-G-I-N-I, Togni, and Di Costanzo. I've always been a big Zinfandel fan. I didn't buy Carlisle this time around, first time in a long time. But I was learning a little bit about the Martinelli Zinfandels and some of their other wines and their winery. And there's a Jackass Hill is one of the oldest Zinfandel vineyards in America. It might be the oldest Zinfandel vineyard in America. It's probably the most expensive Zinfandel in America, and I would love to try it. I think that would be a super interesting one to try. I think it's about 150 if you can find it. Super, super, super small production, because these vines that are, I forget how old, 150 years old or something like that, just produce so little fruit now. I've always, on my list for the longest time, I've had a Hunter Valley Semillon out of Australia with some age. It's supposed to be amazing whites, fuller bodied, but that aged white quality Semillon out of Hunter Valley supposedly ages fantastic. Still have yet to get my hands on one or find one. I think when you go to Australia, they're everywhere. Here, just struggling. More orange wines, extended skin contact or skin contact white wines. I don't want it to be that super sour type of orange wine, but there's so many orange wines out there in the natural wine movement. I just have not tried enough of them, and I believe it's just a category I'd like to try more of and find more of. I'd love to try wine from the Canary Islands. Never had one. Interesting place that they're making wine in the Canary Islands. Anything from Mathiasen. So Mathiasen, Jill, and what's his husband's name? I forget. Doesn't matter. But the Mathiasens, great winery. I've had a Chard from them that was amazing, and another one that I can't remember from them, amazing. Anytime I see anything from Mathiasen, I always typically buy it. Big in the biodynamic movement. And then there was a pre-phylloxera wine at a store that I shop at in Montevideo. I forget which one it was, but that was on my, short list as well. But a lot of wines, of course. Buying any of them anytime soon? No, they're just on the list. That maybe I'll buy one here, one there. There was another one called Pursued by Bear by Kyle MacLachlan from Twin Peaks TV show. He now is a serious winemaker up in Washington State. His Pursued by Bear Cabernet supposedly is fantastic. So. Well, the Constanzos are 100% Cabernet. So when I put Cabernet on the label, 75% has to be Cab. They got to have other grapes as the other varietals after the 25%. If they say estate, and if they say estate Cab, I think it has to be 85%. I think the rules in Oregon are different, where if they say, I think it has to be 85%, and they say estate, it has to be even higher. But anyway, the rules are a little bit different. But if it says Cabernet in California, it only has to be 75% Cab. The other 25% could be anything. So the Constanzos are 100% Cab. So here's the Nebbiolo. Oh, it's definitely opening up more. The Nebbiolo is one of the most aromatic varietals to me. Classic tar, roses, and strawberries. This has dried roses, not as much tar, pretty floral, some strawberries. I think this one just needs to open up more. It's a wine that absolutely needs to be decanted, but I did it at the Coravin, so I should just let it sit in the glass for an hour, but I didn't. So typically Nebbiolo, extremely high tannin. This does not have the high tannin. The tannins have softened. This New Jersey version of a Nebbiolo 2014, the tannins are near gone. The acidity, the lusciousness, like it's making my mouth water. It's all there. All the other Nebbiolo, this tastes like this kind of, I think this is what a 15 to 20 year Nebbiolo out of Piedmont would possibly taste like, could taste like, with this acidity that's still there, some of that, the fruit that's drying, so you get those tertiary flavors. But in New Jersey, maybe you don't get as much as that tannin character out of the Nebbiolo, and the tannin fades a little bit quicker. So this is a 14, so it's got the years. So bottom line, ready to drink now. This wine's absolutely ready to drink now, and is drinking beautifully now. Easy to drink, delicious, a lot of flavors, and it just makes your mouth water. So absolutely is I'm craving food now. 14-minute video, just talk about 2 New Jersey wines and things on my wish list. I'll go buy some midweek wine, maybe do a video, a little bit of what did I buy. Probably buy them this weekend and go from there. Have a good night.